Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking 102.16. Today I want to take a quick side journey and play around with the chevron pattern. And this pattern is not to be confused with the historical chevron trade beads that were made in Murano, and a lot of people still make them today, but they are done completely different from this. In this demonstration, I just want to play around with the chevron pattern itself. I'm going to combine two techniques. I'm combining the Pseudo Onion Skin cane, which I think is going to be perfect for the banded effect that I am looking for, and also using the razor blade tool, and that's pretty much essential for the way I'm going to make this pattern. Without further ado, let's get right into this. As always, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time in the dungeon. All right, I want to start everything out by making the Pseudo Onion Skin cane. And I'm going to use 4 colors for this. And yes, I did make a demo for this cane in the 101 series. And I have the number written down in the description. So if you want a little bit more in-depth info on the Pseudo Onion Skin, you can check out that video. But I am going to lay down 4 colors here on top of clear. I have a coral pink, a turquoise, a new violet, and a lemon yellow. And this is a nice set of colors to use. So basically I'm laying down my 4 colors, adding a few layers of each color as I go. And I can already tell as I roll it out here that I'm going to want to make it a little bigger. I want enough cane to be able to pull out and use a couple different times. Sometimes I will pull out a cane and I can only use it once because it's just not quite long enough. So I'm just going to build this up a little bit more so I can make more than one item with it, because what I'm going to essentially do is wrap this cane around the bead, and it really uses up a lot. So make sure you have a good amount of this cane ready to go. So once I have all my colors on here, I just want to make sure that everything is nice and smooth. So I'll roll it out. And as I'm rolling this out, I want to make sure it doesn't get too long. So I'll kind of back it up a little bit right here with another piece of graphite just to kind of keep it pushed in just a little bit there. And once I'm done with that, I want to just add a couple of stripes of the intense black on 2 sides. And the intense black is nice because it'll stay nice and black when it's pulled out. And on the other 2 sides, I'm going to add a goldstone stringer. And this is really beautiful. It doesn't overpower anything. It just gives a very hint of sparkle in the final product. So I also have done a demonstration for the goldstone as well, and the number is also in the description. Okay, so once I have all my color on here, I'm just going to go ahead and I want to make this into the Pseudo Onion Skin cane and give it lots of layers. So what I'm going to do here is just pull everything in at the end, and I'm going to take a very thin punty and just kind of punty it up, even though this is just temporary, real quick here. It's just so I can heat everything up, and then I'll concentrate my heat right in the center, and I will gently pull this out and give it a quarter turn, and then lay the glass back down onto itself and fold it over. And then to pull that punty away, I just need to make sure that the metal itself is hot and it will come right out of the glass. That's why you want to use a nice thin punty so you don't have anything stuck in there. And then I'm just going to kind of continue to fold it and roll it out. We want to smooth everything down and make sure that where the glass folded over, it'll have 2 kind of deep indentations. You want to make sure that you heat and very gently smooth that out before you continue. Now on this one, I'm going to coat the whole thing in clear. And the reason why is because I have colors that will affect each other. So I have colors in here that will react, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to coat the whole thing in clear to keep everything nice and crisp and clear underneath. If you're not worried about that, then you can just pull the cane out and start working. Anyway, so once I have my clear coat on top, I'm just going to roll it out and smooth everything out into a round and punty up one side. And then the other side, I want to go ahead and cast off that glass rod and pull some of that clear off with it. I definitely want to make sure that all the clear is gone from this end. So I'll take a moment just to kind of pinch and pull the end off a little bit, so it's all color. Now I'll go ahead and get my punty ready to go and punty that up real quick. Make sure you don't push your punty in too deep. That's really important. You just want to just barely touch the glass with the punties. And then I'm just going to heat everything up and very slowly and gently pull this out. When you have a large amount of glass like this, you want to make sure that you take your time pulling it out to get a nice long even glass cane instead of a little piece of spaghetti or something. You want it nice and thick. All right, now we have our Pseudo Onion Skin cane for our banded chevron. Okay, I'm going to start everything out by heating up my mandrel here, and I'm just going to start laying down my white glass. And I do like to use a Fetri white number 204. It's my favorite white to use if you haven't already figured that out. And I'm just going to start laying this down in small discs, kind of butted up next to each other on the mandrel. And before I lay each little bit down, I make sure that the mandrel is nice and hot so I don't have the bubbles, rising up from the surface. And once I have a nice amount of color down, I have about a ½ inch here, but I want it to be a little longer. So I'm just going to roll everything out and then focus my heat on the ends and give it a slight, kind of a tapered effect here, and that will lengthen my bead. And I want this bead to be slightly larger. So I'm going to go ahead and add one more wrap of the white. And I feel like at this point I will have enough for the effect that I'm going for. Okay, so now that I have all the white on here, all my base color, and the base color is all up to you. Depending on how you put or lay your cane down, you will see this color come through. So if you want to use a black, that would look really nice, or a bright green or something, you will definitely see that color, so you want to think about that ahead of time. So I'm just going to spend a moment to roll this out and get it ready for me to add this big wrap of color on here. And I'm going to start out by just adding the cane to one end. And as I wrap this, and I want to try to do a nice tight wrap, but as I'm adding this, I am very slowly turning my cane so that the color keeps changing. I don't want to do it fast. I want to do it very slow. I don't want it to look like it's wiggling back and forth. I want everything to stay nice and linear as I am laying this cane down. And yes, I ran out of that cane already. You'll see the bead at the very end because I wanted to make 3 different types of these. I wanted to make one that had just the cut of the chevron. I wanted to make one that had it all smooth, and then I wanted to make this one that has it encased in clear. So once I have finished laying down this cane, I will just come in and pull those ends out so the cane finishes nicely around the base of the bead. And then I'll spend quite a few minutes. I don't want to overheat anything at this point. I want to very gently smooth everything down against the base bead. I know that this the cane was encased in clear, but because it's pulled out and the clear is thin, if I overheat it, that clear could possibly kind of break open and that color could spill out, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just taking my time rolling everything out and smoothing it down, and you have something that looks like this, which looks amazing in itself. But now let's go ahead and get our chevron pattern in here. I have a long razor blade tool, and what I'll do is just spend a moment to heat up just one area, one side of the bead, and make sure it's nice and hot. So when you go and you press, you can press into the bead and you drag your tool down slightly to make that V pattern. And then I'll give the bead a quarter turn and I will just repeat this. And here, this might happen to you. You might get your razor blade tool stuck in the glass. And if you do, don't struggle, don't try to force it. All I did there was just kind of blow on the metal of the tool and waited for it to release itself. If you struggle with it, you might release the bead off of the mandrel. So do your best just to pull that off. You know what I mean. Either way, I did dip my tool in the water before I continued. Now, once you have 4 nice impressions in the glass, what I like to do is turn everything over. So then I'm continuing with the same motion. I'm pressing in and pulling down slightly. And the press on the opposite side is when everything kind of comes together. And you'll notice here that I didn't get the press perfectly in the center where I really thought I was getting it in the center. I really did. I don't know what happened here. But these last two look a little bit better, and I noticed in the end it didn't really matter. So go ahead and finish your chevron pattern here. And I love the way this is looking. It looks great. And I do have a bead at the end, like I said, that I left like this just so you can see how it looks. So I'm just going to pull these little edges down to where they meet up with the mandrel again. All right, now at this point, what I want to do is start to melt all of this down and smooth it out. But like before, I don't want to overheat it. So I just kind of gently here am rolling this, and I noticed that I would rather use a butter knife, and this gives me a much crisper pattern when I flatten these ridges down first. The V pattern really kind of pushes into itself nicer when you do it this way. Okay, now once everything is looking nice and smooth, I'll further continue to smooth it out until I get to the point where we can add our clear glass. I want to do a full encasement on this when we're done rolling it out. Okay, once I have one side finished, I always will heat the center and kind of work my way to the other side. You always want to take your time when you're heating and smoothing, and you will be happier in the long run, I promise. I'm just going to work my edges here real quick, and you can see this makes just a most amazing bead in itself as well. So I have an example of this at the end too. Okay, so now I want to do my full encasement here, and I am using a thicker clear rod for when I'm encasing a large bead. And it just makes things go by much easier, and I don't have to add as many swipes. And of course, when I'm swiping, I am always slightly overlapping the previous amount of glass. And I'm just gonna go all the way around and add a little bit to the bottom to make up for kind of the lack of clear there that I had from the top. And okay, we are just about ready. All I have to do is push that clear glass over the edge there a little bit and start to heat and melt everything in. I'm just gonna start kind of working from one side and get that one edge looking really nice. And then I can just continue working down the bead. Okay, I have a little bit more to go of shaping, and we are just about done here. I really hope you guys enjoyed this fun take on the chevron pattern, and I hope you give it a try. Check out the Pseudo Onion Skin demonstration or the Goldstone one if you'd like. And on that note, I will see you guys all next time in the dungeon. Take care.